Here's a question I recently got from a potential client on my website. The question was, can I sue a hospital by myself without a lawyer? Now, I've done several videos on bringing lawsuits by yourself, but I wanted to answer this specific question. So let's talk about technically what the answer is and then practically. So technically, yes, anybody is allowed to bring a lawsuit by themselves without a lawyer. The law doesn't require you to have a lawyer. You can go to the courthouse and you can file a lawsuit by yourself and you don't need a lawyer. Now, is that recommended in a medical malpractice case? Let's talk about the practical side. No, I'm going to tell you that it's impossible really for you to succeed in bringing a medical malpractice lawsuit yourself without a lawyer. Here's why. Here are the steps. First, you have to be able to get all of your medical records and consult with a medical expert. Under the law, you cannot move forward until you have a medical doctor be able to look at the records and to be able to swear under oath that medical malpractice was committed. So that's going to be your first hurdle, because most doctors are not going to want to talk to you without a lawyer because they're not going to have the confidence that you're going to know how to do the case properly. And so that's going to be hurdle number one. You're not going to be able to find a medical malpractice lawyer. That doesn't mean that you're not a smart person and that you're not a competent person. It's just, this is just a very specialized area. This is what lawyers are trained to do. Hurdle number two is you have to file a lawsuit in a proper way with the court, and that's called a complaint. And a complaint is a very detailed legal document that has to be specifically done correctly according to the rules. Not only that, you're going to have an affidavit by your medical doctor that goes along with the lawsuit for the lawsuit to even move forward. So that's hurdle number two. Hurdle number three, you're going to get a lawyer on the other side who's going to defend the case. Now, the fact that you're by yourself doesn't mean that the hospital is just going to do something without a lawyer. They're going to get a very competent lawyer who's going to aggressively pursue the case. Now, the fact that you don't have a lawyer doesn't mean that you get to bypass all of the laws and that you somehow get an easier path. You're going to be treated just like any other lawyer would be treated, which means you're going to have to know how to file papers properly. You're going to have to know how to do the discovery process of the case. You're going to have to be held to the same rules of evidence, the same rules of procedure, just like any other lawyer would be. And the fact that you're by yourself, no judge is going to give you a pass. And so if you get through all of these hoops, then you're going to have to be able to try a jury trial by yourself. You're going to have to be able to pick a jury. You're going to have to be able to understand how to get evidence in. And it's going to be very difficult for you to do that because you're not a trained lawyer. And the likelihood of you even getting that far is very remote. I'm not saying this again to say that you're not a competent person, you're not a smart person. It's just that this is a very specialized area. This is lawyers who have gone to law school and have had training and have had worked under older lawyers who show them the ropes. And so medical malpractice cases are one of the most difficult cases to pursue. So the idea of you being able to do this on your own is really something that's a lost cause.